Hi, I'm Sean Montmany. I'm going to be your analytics guide as I walk you through a dashboard I built based on an analysis of the Massachusetts state school system because I make sense out of chaos and confusion. So the question I set out to answer would be if the superintendent asked, where should we best allocate our funds for the year? Where can we help our students? I had an idea going into it what might be somewhere to start with, but I hope to show you that I found my idea probably won't make any difference. But I did see something that jumped out on the data that I think would be impactful. So let me walk you through first the tool that I used, and this is Tableau. Tableau is a great visualization tool, great for processing lots of data, turn data into visuals and colors, and to basically to tell a story that makes sense. So what we're looking at, we have almost 1 million students, 1,900 different schools that we looked at. And I looked at three different things. So the first one is, and here in Tableau, we can these charts are interactive, so we can scroll up and down this scale here at the bottom. Dark colors are our extremes, so dark red is 0%, dark blue 100%, and then those lighter colors in the middle is kind of our midpoint. So light orange, light blue, we're right around 50%, and again that percentage is based on graduation percentage. So the question I looked at is when looking at your budget for anything, is where should we start with? And I think this tells us we have 37 schools that are below 50% graduation rate. And the one nice thing with Tableau is you hover over any of these data points, it can tell you the details behind it. So, for example, I picked the long one. Massachusetts Virtual Academy at Greenfield Commonwealth Virtual School. Wow, say that 3 times fast. They're at a 40% graduation rate. If we go up and look at, there we go, Seacoast School. That's an easy one to say. They're at 31%. So these 37 schools that fall below the 50% line, we're only looking at 2% of the total state school system. So there might be some low-hanging fruit. That'd be a good place to start with. And if we can get Seacoast School from 31% to 50%, raise them 20%, that there might be some simple steps to help boost that number. So the question I thought that might need to be addressed first would be class size. I thought maybe the school could invest in additional schools or hire more teachers to get class size lower. As you can see in the scatter plot here in the middle, though, I'm not sure class size matters. For example, we've got a school here that had 40% of their students attending college, and their average class size was basically 11. Well, we also have a school here, the average class size is 11, just like the other one, but their percentage of attending college is 92. And you can see they kind of fall all around our midpoint line, so I'm not sure class size was really that important. What I did find, and I tried to color code this, is there's another data point of economically disadvantaged. Sorry, it was a long word, so it doesn't really fit on here, but economically disadvantaged. So those who fall in the disadvantaged category are blue. Those, I guess, would be advantaged, are in the green. And you can see there's a number of blue schools below our trend line, which made me think there might be, I guess the follow-up question to the superintendent wondering where to spend their funds, a follow-up question might be, let's figure out what, are there resources that these disadvantaged schools are missing that the other schools have? For example, where I'm at in Utah, most junior highs and high schools issue laptops or Chromebooks to all students so they can have access to their homework, taking quizzes, retaking quizzes. Is there something about a disadvantaged school? Maybe they don't have laptops that they can hand out, or maybe they do, but maybe the students don't have access to Wi-Fi or the internet at home, which at that point, if you have the laptop but you can't turn in your homework, maybe it's there's not a help there. So maybe there's some funds that could go into either issuing laptops or somehow ensuring that all students have access to Wi-Fi. I know there's companies out there that build in Wi-Fi adapters to the laptops themselves, so they don't need to find a laptop or a Wi-Fi signal. They're just constantly online. So that could be something to ask the superintendent. And then over here we have a line graph on this on the right side, and there's a couple filters we can choose to look through these. Now these are fourth grade math scores, and these are and this is a district, not just a school, but any districts who have what percentage passed their math scores. So you have a dozen or so that are above the 50% line, and then we have excuse me, then we have a number who fall below that line. And so one great thing with Tableau, and not necessarily just to follow colors for the sake of pretty colors on a disk, but looking at some of these scores to say, okay, if there are districts, let's look at districts who are right close to our trend line. Of these districts, how many have schools or students that would fall into the economically disadvantaged category? And of those who are in these districts that are economically disadvantaged, how many fall into these schools that have a low graduation percentage? So I think my first couple questions back to the superintendent might be, hey, let's look at the economically disadvantaged. Are there tools or resources that we could provide to these students to increase not only their math scores, but the graduation percentage, which could then lead to increasing their attendance in college. So with that, I thank you for joining. There's my quick walkthrough of Tableau. Again, great visualization tool. Like I said, I started with an idea of what I thought might have an impact, but looking at the data, turns out it was something different. So anyway, thank you. Hope to have more videos coming out shortly, and thanks for joining.